China's economy. Hold up, what's going on? Yo, China! Remember when your economy was booming? Factories were buzzing and the streets were packed with shoppers. Like crazy growth, everyone talking about the next superpower. Skyscrapers shooting up like bamboo after the rain? Yeah, well, things are a little different now. Those once bustling malls are eerily quiet, and many storefronts are shuttered. We're talking high unemployment, a housing crisis, and even deflation. People are struggling to find jobs, homes are sitting unsold, and prices are actually falling. It's enough to make you wonder, what the heck happened? Economists are scratching their heads, and citizens are feeling the pinch. For years, China's economy was like a rocket ship, blasting off into the stratosphere. The growth was fast and furious, leaving everyone in awe. But even rockets need fuel, and it seems like China's might be running low. The growth has slowed, and factories aren't as busy as they used to be. Don't worry, we're going to break it all down for you, Patriot Act style. We'll make sense of the numbers and the headlines. We'll dive deep into the problems, from jobless graduates to mountains of debt. Young people are finding it tough to start their careers, and the country is buried under a pile of IOUs. We'll look at the government's attempts to fix things. Spoiler alert, it's complicated. Policies are being rolled out, but the solutions aren't straightforward. And we'll try to figure out what this all means for China. And, let's be real, the rest of the world. So buckle up, kids. This isn't just about one country. It's about global ripple effects. It's time for a crash course in China's economic rollercoaster ride. From the highs of rapid growth to the lows of current struggles, we're in for a wild journey. We'll also explore how China's economic shifts are impacting global trade and markets. When China sneezes, the world catches a cold, right? Experts will weigh in, and we'll break down complex concepts into bite-sized pieces. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of what's going on. And let's not forget the human side of the story. How are everyday people coping with these changes? We'll hear their stories too. Despite the challenges, there's a spirit of resilience. Communities are coming together, finding ways to support each other through tough times. So stay tuned, because understanding China's economic journey is crucial for all of us. Let's dive in and see what the future might hold. Jobless graduates and a youth unemployment crisis. One of the biggest red flags in China right now is the youth unemployment rate. This issue has been escalating over the past few years, creating a significant social and economic challenge for the country. We're talking about people aged 16 to 24, fresh out of school and ready to conquer the world. These young individuals have spent years studying, investing time and money into their education, with the hope of securing a stable job and a bright future. Except, there aren't enough jobs for them. The job market is saturated and the competition is fierce. Many companies are downsizing or freezing hiring due to economic uncertainties. Imagine graduating with a degree, excited to start your career, only to face rejection after rejection. The emotional toll is immense, leading to feelings of frustration, hopelessness, and anxiety among these young job seekers. That's the reality for millions of young people in China. They are left in a state of limbo, unable to move forward with their lives. This situation is not just a personal crisis, but a societal one. It's gotten so bad that the government even stopped releasing the official youth unemployment numbers. This lack of transparency has only added to the uncertainty and speculation about the true extent of the problem. This isn't just bad news for young people. It's bad news for the entire economy. When a significant portion of the population is unemployed, it affects consumer spending, which is a critical driver of economic growth. A generation struggling to find work means less spending, less innovation, and less growth. Young people are often the most dynamic and innovative segment of the workforce, and their inability to find jobs stifles potential advancements and economic progress. It's a recipe for economic stagnation. Without addressing this crisis, the long-term consequences could be severe, affecting not just the current generation, but future ones as well. The need for effective solutions has never been more urgent. The government's stimulus package, too little, too late. So what's the Chinese government doing about this whole economic mess? The economy has been struggling and people are looking for answers. Businesses are closing, unemployment is rising, and the financial markets are in turmoil. Well, they've tried throwing money at the problem, like a stimulus package on steroids. Billions of yuan have been pumped into the economy in an attempt to revive it. We're talking infrastructure projects, tax breaks, you name it. New roads, bridges, and buildings are being constructed, and businesses are getting some relief through tax incentives. But here's the thing, it hasn't really worked. Despite these efforts, the economy is still in a slump. Many construction sites remain empty, and businesses continue to shut down. The stimulus measures have been criticized for being too small and too focused on propping up old industries instead of investing in new ones. Critics argue that the government should be looking towards the future, investing in technology and innovation. It's like trying to fix a flat tire with a band-aid. The temporary measures might provide some relief, but they don't address the underlying issues. Sure, it might hold for a little bit, but it's not a long-term solution. The economy needs a comprehensive plan that addresses both immediate and future challenges. Without such a plan, the stimulus package may indeed be too little, too late. China's housing bubble, a ticking time bomb. Remember the 2008 housing crisis in the US? Yeah, well, China might be facing its own version of that, but on a much bigger scale. For years, China's property market has been booming. People were buying apartments left and right, seeing real estate as a surefire investment. But there's a problem. Many of these apartments are empty. They're like ghost towns, built on speculation rather than actual demand. And when the bubble bursts, it's going to be messy. Section 5. Drowning in Debt. The Evergrande Crisis and its ripple effects. Speaking of bubbles bursting, let's talk about Evergrande. This massive real estate developer is drowning in debt, like swimming with the fishes levels of debt. And it's not the only one. See, China's economic growth has been fueled by debt for years. Local governments, state-owned enterprises, even regular people. Everyone's borrowing money like it's going out of style. But when the economy slows down, all that debt becomes a huge problem. Businesses can't repay their loans, people default on their mortgages, and the whole financial system starts to shake. Section 6. Deflation Nation. Why falling prices are bad news for China. Here's another economic term you don't want to hear. Deflation. It sounds good, right? Lower prices, who doesn't love a bargain? But deflation is actually a sign of a weak economy. When prices are falling, people hold off on buying things because they think prices will go even lower in the future. This leads to less spending, less production, and even more economic slowdown. It's a vicious cycle, and it's one that China is struggling to escape. Section 7. The slowdown. China's economic growth takes a hit. All of these factors, the unemployment, the housing bubble, the debt, the deflation, have taken a toll on China's economic growth. Remember that rocket ship we talked about earlier? Well, it's lost some altitude. China's GDP growth has slowed down considerably in recent years. While this may seem like a minor blip after decades of breakneck growth, it's causing serious concern both domestically and internationally. The world has come to rely on China's economic engine, and a sputtering engine could have global consequences. Section 8. What's next for the world's second largest economy? So, what's next for China's economy? That's the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, there's no easy answer. Some experts believe that China can pull itself out of this slump, that it has the resources and the resilience to overcome these challenges. Others are less optimistic. arguing that China's economic model is broken and that fundamental changes are needed. One thing's for sure, the world is watching closely.